And a good spiritual morning to you once again. I'm Father Cosmas. Thanks for joining me today for a quick chat and, of course, our morning cup of coffee. And this was a mug given to me again from Christmas from my kids, and it's got two little hobbits on there, and they're saying, what about second coffee? Because, of course, hobbits from Lord of the Rings enjoy second breakfast, so talking about second coffee. And so for today, I wanted to pick up a little bit on what we've been discussing the last couple of weeks. We've been talking a little bit about if we're making New Year's resolutions, something to do with those resolutions. And we're already about a week and a half into the new year. And I think, unfortunately, for a lot of people, they've already run into some difficulty with their resolutions. So I wanted to talk about something today that might help us keep our resolutions, because many of us have already maybe stumbled a little bit and had some difficulty. And resolutions can fail, well, for a whole number of reasons. But realistically, no matter what we're trying to do to improve ourselves, it helps to have a support system. We have to look at the relationships that we have around us with the people that we are closest to. And so this is interesting because it's kind of a strange relationship between us wanting to improve ourselves, but needing the people that are around us to kind of help us along the way and have that support system. And I say it's strange because so much of what we're trying to do is, with our resolutions, about us. I want to make sure that I'm exercising more, or I'm eating healthier. We have these resolutions, and they're, for the most part, they're about me. They're a little bit self-centered. They're a little bit narcissistic. And one of the things I wanted to throw out there for us to think about so that we can be successful in whatever we're trying to do is to work on our support system. In other words, work on our relationships. Maybe some of our resolutions, or one of our resolutions, can be about others, not just about us, or at least about how we interact with others. Those people that are, again, closest to us, whether it's our spouse or our children or our parents, relatives, just really good friends, people we work with. We have people that we spend a lot of time with. And we want to make sure we have good relationships. So a few practical things to think about going into the new year to help us build up those relationships and make sure that they're healthy. First off, we have to communicate. Far too often, people simply don't communicate effectively. They don't talk. They make small talk. They talk about little things that don't mean much, or they have a disagreement and then they argue. Neither of those is a form of effective communication. We have to really talk to people, get to know people, and try to get, if there's something going on, we have to talk about that in the relationship. We don't want to bury things. We don't want to hide things. We don't want to let resentment sort of brew, have hurt feelings brew, because we don't want to address a situation because it might be uncomfortable. So we just sweep it under the rug. We talk about, sports or the weather or whatever, or we wait till it builds and builds and builds, and then we explode, we blow up, and we have this horrible interaction with people. We have to communicate on a regular basis in a nice way, in a healthy way. Talk about what's going on in our relationship, talk about what's going on in our lives, and that brings me to the next tip that I would offer. We have to be honest, right? So if something is happening, we can't say, no, I'm fine, don't worry about it, when we're not so fine. When something has happened in the relationship, and again, we're just trying to sweep it under the rug because we don't want the confrontation. We don't have to have a confrontation, but it's important to be honest in order to have a healthy relationship. We have to be honest and truthful. Now we need to be loving and speak the truth with love, but if something has happened, we should be able to discuss it and be honest about what we're saying. And the last thing I would say is we need to be empathetic. And what I mean by that is we have to be able to put ourselves in the place of the other person when we are having these talks and when we're being honest. Sort of say, well, I wonder how they perceived what I'm saying. How do they feel about it? If I was in their shoes, how would I feel about what I said to them? You have to be able to get outside of yourself and think about things from another point of view, from the other person's point of view. And if we can do that, then we get a good look at ourselves. It's like holding a mirror up to yourself and saying, wow, I wonder how they perceived me. Well, then we get a better insight into who we are. And then we can work on ourselves more, and we can be healthier moving into the new year. So some things to think about, because people are going through their resolutions, stumbling a little bit, And we need support. We need help. In order to get that help, we have to also think about working on those relationships. Communicate, be honest, be empathetic. Just a few things to think about. And that's something that we can, I'm going to resolve to do that this year. I'm going to be better about communicating. It's one of my resolutions. I've got a couple of kids that are out of state and out of the country. And one of the things I said was, I'm going to be better at making an effort to communicate with them more, and to talk to them more, and to be honest with them more, and to think about things from their point of view. And if we can do that, then we build up our relationships. It gives us a stronger support system. And when we're trying to go for that extra walk, or we're trying to not eat that extra donut or that extra piece of cake, we have someone there that can give us words of encouragement and can support us and be helpful in that. And it's also then a benefit for us. So that's something for us to think about as we're going into the new year, and hopefully we can progress and we can grow in that and build that up, not only in the year, but each and every day. Amen.